Have you ever found yourself in a situation where someone got really emotional and you just didn't know how to react? Maybe a customer you were dealing with got really upset. Maybe one of your coworkers just started crying. Or maybe one of your friends just snapped at you out of nowhere. Think of someone you know who would be really good at dealing with these types of situations. Someone who always seems to know how to make others feel better. Someone who always seems to know the right things to say. I'll bet there are a lot of these things. Calm, kind, patient, genuine, understanding, and compassionate. All the traits one would normally associate with having a lot of empathy. Now, if someone were to ask you, what does empathy mean? Would your answer be putting yourself in someone else's shoes to understand how they feel? Because I know that that's what my answer would be. From the first time I learned about empathy, that was always the cookie cutter definition. And to this day, it still shapes how I think about it. But lately, I've been trying to think about empathy on a deeper level than just putting yourself in someone else's shoes. What does this actually mean? And what does it mean to be truly empathetic? If you Google empathy definition, there's a few different things that come up, like this. The ability to sense other people's emotions, coupled with the ability to imagine how they might be thinking or feeling. This. The action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the thoughts, feelings, and emotions of others. And this. The ability to understand and share the feelings of another. In essence, being empathetic is about sharing the emotions of those around us. It involves emotionally connecting with their experiences in order to feel what they might be feeling. Doing this will help us truly understand and connect with them, which will help us demonstrate genuine care and compassion. Now, this all sounds great. But I feel like this is one of those things that is so much easier said than done. Oh, just put yourself in someone else's shoes, and then you'll understand how they feel. Right, okay. But what if you've never been in a similar situation before? What if you have absolutely no context or common experiences to relate to? Yes, you can try to imagine how you might feel in their position, but this doesn't give you the full picture. Maybe you're in their shoes, but you didn't walk the walk they did. You don't know how much their feet might hurt. You don't know everything they had to sacrifice or go through in order to get here. You aren't shouldering the weight of all their previous experiences that are influencing how they read and react to the situation at hand. You can't fully understand how they feel without actually being them. So, being truly empathetic is a very difficult thing to do. Now, I'm not trying to say don't put yourself in their shoes, or don't try to imagine how they might be feeling. Doing this is still a very important step towards cultivating empathy. What I'm saying is doing that will only take you part of the way. Trying to imagine how someone is feeling may give you a short-term perspective. It might help you see things from their side in this current moment, but it doesn't give you the full story. Imagine a movie that opens with a big confrontation between two characters, and then it says,
3 days earlier.
And then it shows you the context of everything building up to that moment for one of the characters. Now, imagine after that, it shows you the confrontation again, but this time from the other person's side. But then it doesn't show the 3 days earlier and doesn't show the context of everything leading up to the moment for them. Wouldn't you be confused? Yes, you're seeing it from the other side in the moment, but you don't know everything that happened leading up to it. So even though you're seeing it from their side, you don't know how they got there or how they might be feeling. So I think putting yourself in someone else's shoes is a good way to describe the starting point for demonstrating empathy. But I think a better way to describe true empathy is putting yourself in someone else's shoes and looking back at the journey they've been on, and using that to shape and influence your response. I feel like this is how you can cultivate true empathy, and how you can become a great deal more compassionate. Now, this is by no means easy to do. You can't just pull up a movie of their life, but you can still do certain things to get more context and understanding of their situation. Here are a few key steps for doing that. Step 1. Active listening. Active listening is the foundation of empathy. When someone is talking to you, be fully present. Put away distractions, make eye contact, and show that you're fully engaged in the conversation. If someone is making themselves vulnerable and opening up to you, and you show them that you're not interested, they are going to close right back up. In these cases, you also want to make sure that you're listening to understand, not listening to respond. This usually isn't the time for problem solving. And this isn't always easy. I know for me, if someone is describing a problem that I think I know how to fix, then it's really hard for me not to want to share that solution with them. But most of the time, this isn't what they actually want to hear. Sometimes they already know the solution. They just want to be heard and feel understood. Step 2. Practice full perspective taking. As we've discussed, Empathy involves seeing things from another person's perspective, and there's a lot of difficulty associated with that. You can try to see things from their perspective, but you don't know everything they've been through. So to help with this, ask them open-ended questions. How did that make you feel? Do you think that something happening in the past is impacting how you feel about this? Asking these questions will help break down barriers and foster a deeper connection. It also helps you develop a fuller understanding of the position that they're in, and that allows you to better understand their thoughts, feelings, and past experiences. And this is what truly allows you to practice full perspective taking. Step 3, validate emotions. A lot of the time, people just want to feel like they're not wrong for feeling what they're feeling. They want to know that it makes sense to others, that others would feel the same way if they were put in their position. So acknowledging someone's emotions is crucial. Let them know that what they're feeling makes sense to you. Let them know that it's easy for you to see why they might be feeling this way. Let them know that the emotions they're going through are valid to you. If you're not sure what to say, you can also reflect back what you've heard for them to confirm. Doing this is good for a number of reasons. It helps you understand their perspective better. It confirms that you've listened to what they shared with you, enough to be able to repeat it back to them, which shows that you care. And it gives them further opportunities to share their perspective. Also, being empathetic doesn't always mean talking a lot. You don't need to have all the answers. Sometimes you may not know what to say. Sometimes you might say that you don't know what to say. And sometimes that might be all the other person needs to hear. It might be better than trying to say the right thing and then saying the wrong thing instead. Sometimes just a compassionate presence is enough. Obviously, every situation will be a little bit different. The way you show empathy will not be the same every single time. But following these 3 steps will take you a long way towards becoming more compassionate. One other thing that I think is important to note. When I think about showing empathy, I usually think about it in the context of someone I know is going through a tough time, and I myself am not. And so I should try to relate to them in order to understand their tough time better. But the limitation here is that I'm only thinking about myself in situations where I'm in my normal state. A state where I'm in full control of my emotions. And being in this state makes being empathetic so much easier. If I'm not upset, of course it's easier for me to manage my emotions. If I'm not hurt or offended by someone, of course it's easier for me to empathize with them. I think the true measure of compassion is how well you're able to empathize with someone when you yourself are upset. Even more so if you're upset because of something they did. Can you put yourself in the other person's shoes when they're insulting you for what feels like no good reason? Can you look back on their journey and understand how they're feeling? When they're getting mad at you for something that you wouldn't get mad at them for? Can you forgive someone who has just hurt you if you can see that they've been hurt by something else? So add all that into the mix, and it's pretty clear that being empathetic is truly a skill. It's already difficult to fully understand how someone might be feeling. It's even more difficult to do this when you have to balance it against your own rising feelings and emotions. But like any skill, there are things you can do to develop and get better at it. Empathy is no different. So keep practicing your active listening, perspective taking, and emotional validation skills. Becoming more compassionate is a lifelong journey of learning. Be curious about the experiences of others and learn more about different cultures and perspectives. The more you learn, the more your understanding and capacity for empathy will grow. Just keep in mind that you might have to take care of your own emotions and mental state before you can fully do the same for others. Anyway, if you found this video helpful, your thumbs up is much appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos on personal development and self-improvement. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.